I am Kevin Hayes, History and Government major, Philosophy minor, junior, the Executive Member at Large for the 2014-2015 academic year.
I am Jeffrey Walker, Mass Communications major, focusing on broadcast journalism. I am a junior and I am your head of promotions.
I'm Richard Lucas III, History and Government major, Social Justice minor from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Currently, I serve as the president of the Eta Zeta chapter at Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity and the chief of staff for Student Government Association.
My name is Trayvon Bond. I am the current marketing director for SGA, as well as a proud member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Okay, so the program yesterday was the town hall meeting held with our president of the university, President Burnham.
The town hall meeting, the event itself was held in order for students to get a better look and ask questions of Dr. Burnham, because he is very elusive in a sense. Many people have heard his name but do not know what he looks like. So students were given an opportunity to ask him questions on an Ask FM.
It was a chance for us as the students to get to voice our concerns and our opinions on certain things, pertaining to the university and the community that we all stay in and live in. And it's something that I feel like needs to happen more often, because this is the first time that, he's, has come and sat down kind of in the open space, with us as the students, other than like coronation and kind of like the big university events, So it's definitely a good idea, and it's something that we should start doing more often so we can get the answers and we can voice our opinions and our concerns more frequently and into the right people. Obviously, the president of our university needs to know what the students want, what needs to be changed, that's somebody that we should be able to go to and be able to talk to and voice our concerns to. It was some questions that didn't get answered that should have been able to get answered. So, and the thing with that is, if it happens more often, if our president gets to hear our concerns and our opinions on certain things, then he can kind of go and take action and nip those things in the bud like now. So the next time, we have a town hall meeting or a similar situation, he can say, well, I remember you all asked about this last time. Here's what I've done since then to make that change, for you, the students, because me as a member and student government association, it's like our job is to advocate for the students. His job as the president of the university is to advocate for the university. So what better way can you help, the university than hearing the opinions and concerns of your very own students?
Since the provost wasn't there, it seemed like most of the questions, especially when it involved like department issues, seemed like most of the questions couldn't get answered. So he was basically like, yeah, I can't answer that. We got to go to the provost. We got to wait for the everything with the provost, which I think even though it wasn't a lot of people there, it don't seem like a lot of things got answered because the person that he kept referring to, which was the provost, he wasn't there.
Well, actually, he had a list of notes already there. Like he already had like notes of different things that he wanted to touch on, and he kind of, I guess you say, had his own little intro that he kind of just had a speech kind of prepared already. I guess with things that he assumed that we already were going to ask, but the attendance was somewhat low. But I feel like that's because, like, if we have parties and stuff, a lot of students come out to. We have like type of big fun events. A lot more students come out to, but if my thing to the students is, if you have an opinion or you have a concern involving university, then just like you're gonna go to that party, you should come to this town hall meeting so you can get to voice your opinion to the people that need to hear it.
Well, the status that Freeze is referring to is something I made this morning comparing our last 3 big SGA events. The Halloween party, which had over 500 people. Then you had the career fair brought in by the Career Development Office that had over 200 people, close to 200 people. And then you had yesterday President Burnham's town hall meeting, which only had 59. So you could see as the events got more and more serious and more pertinent to student well-being and students doing more than partying, essentially, the attendance went down by a lot.
my thing to the students is, if you have an opinion or you have a concern involving university, then just like you're gonna go to that party, you should come to this town hall meeting so you can get to voice your opinion to the people that need to hear it. You feel me? If you're talking to your friend or your classmate about a concern, then it's like, okay, what is that classmate gonna do? But if you get an opportunity to go to the university president, President Burnham, or somebody of higher standing, then that's where the change can really come. If you voice your opinion to him, then he can make that change. There were questions concerning 24-hour visitation. There were questions concerning like what his specific role is as the university president. There were concerns facing scholarship opportunities, for like honor students versus athletes, different things like that.
The question that a student brought up was, why doesn't Bowie State have a school of engineering? And the student said he's wanted to be an engineer since he was 11 years old. Dr. Burnham's only answer to that question is that we probably will not get one. Like the history and government and the English department, as well as the communications department. Most of the departments in the MLK don't have a lot of funding, don't have a lot of space. Like with the communications department, there's no radio. The TV station's basically done. They need more space to expand, but there's nowhere to do it. While the fine arts department just got a brand new building. The science is about to get a brand new building.
The communications department, definitely a big deal, because we had a TV station, but we don't have one this year. We had a good radio station a few years back, which is kind of, in a sense, I guess, been in the work for the last couple of years. But for communications majors, like, that's a big avenue. Obviously, TV and radio are kind of like the main two things of broadcasting. And right now, as a university, we don't have either one of those. So the only thing we have, we take the classes, we make mock radio stations. I hosted a TV show last year. But those are the type of things that need to be relevant in a communications department, because that's what we thrive at. That's what we need, to go out for our futures. We need to have these samples and be able to broadcast them, because that's what we do.
It was actually two questions for the radio. It was, what happened to WBSU radio, and how are we supposed to succeed in a field, specifically broadcast journalism, if we don't have the resources we need? His response, well, President Burnham, we're going to refer to him as President Burnham, he said that, he said, I wasn't aware that the radio station tag was even WBSU. He said it was also been operated in low key, but really, my freshman year in 2012, it was broadcasted in the old Wiseman, the old student center. It was broadcasted towards the back end of the Wiseman. But he said we don't broadcast off campus. But my freshman year, they said the only reason why we don't broadcast off campus is because the antenna was messed up. And they said it was going to be fixed. They said it was going to be fixed. Here it is, my junior year, still not fixed. We don't even have a spot for it. We have a spot, but we don't have equipment. And the second question for the radio station was, why do we pay a lab fee to work with outdated equipment that's barely working? And and President Burnham wasn't aware that it was a lab fee of $35. $35 is not a lot, but it's something. Because if I'm paying a lab fee, I feel as though that we should be using updated equipment, because if you go to our radio station, it's all outdated stuff. I don't think this stuff even been in since 2000. It looked like late 90s. And if you go to a radio station, it's all digital now. You really have to, it's like you're not learning with communication. It's like you're not learning to work with the equipment that's going to be in the field. So basically when you graduate, you got to be retaught everything that you had to know.
Okay, yeah, a question was posed that we had to pay, I believe it's, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like $35 for a radio lab fee. But like I said, we don't have an active radio station, and the equipment that we're using for the lab station is run down and it's old. Like, we're using CDs, like we're inserting CDs and fast forwarding and rewinding on a big, like it's very out of date. And it's not, an updated system. Like, we don't even have an active radio station. So it's kind of like, why are we paying this fee if nothing's being done to increase, the level in which we're given? It definitely is. As our chairperson of the department, like, it's in a sense it's kind of like her job, to set things up, as far as like internships and things like that with outside sources, just to give us like opportunities. That's part of what goes on. But, and to my knowledge, I've heard that we have a graduate of Bowie who's active in the radio out there in the world now, and she's tried to reach back, give us opportunities, but her phone calls don't get answered or returned. So I feel like that's something that definitely needs to be capitalized on, because we're already suffering because we don't have an active radio station and TV station right now. So any opportunities that we get while we're still in undergrad, to get that experience out in the real field with the real technology that we need and the real experience that we need to be able to take advantage of that now, because we're kind of behind.
More funding for the department, possibly more grants, more opportunities to study abroad for students, more opportunities to go to conferences for students, because being history and government majors, we have constantly, every year, new things are added. Things change in history, things change in government, so we need to stay abreast on those.
Each department and each different department on campus, they have to have their own specific town halls and their own specific ways for students to come out and voice their concerns and get answers to their questions. And what my department chair, Dr. Miller, is, he has an open door. So literally students can come in and out all day and speak to him about what internships are coming up, what fellowships are coming up, what study abroad opportunities are coming up. And that's History and Government Department. That's our way of being able to speak to him and voice our concerns, so we can have some type of rationale, some type of foundation of what's going on as far as History and Government Department with the university. And other departments, the departments may be too big or too wide or located in multiple buildings, so they can't have that same opportunity, that same type of connection with their students. So what needs to happen is a department town hall, a communications town hall, so we can ask more pointed and more pointed questions to the people who would have the answers. So if we're asking the communications chair what happened to the WBSU radio, it's an entirely different answer than President Burnim, because he honestly doesn't know. He honestly doesn't know.
If I had the chance to sit down with the department chair and President Burnim, I would actually have a lot to ask. I would ask that our labs be updated. I would ask that our radio stations brought back up, because I'm actually going into the field of radio when I graduate, and honestly, I love Bowie State, but it's not preparing me for the world. Like, all my air checks, Professor Kenny doing a good job. He's helping me get my air checks and stuff, but that's basically self-taught because we don't have the resources. Also, the TV station, we need our TV station updated, and we just need more opportunities in the communications department. Like you said, Freeze, we got people who graduated who are program directors at radio stations, and they're trying to get back to the school, but it's like there's no communication between graduates and the department, because they feel as though the department really didn't do nothing for them. Like at WPGC, the program director you was talking about, at XM Sirius Satellite Radio, Terrell Robinson, it's just no communication, and I would just ask that we just build the communication department up as a whole, and not even just for broadcast. I'm talking about for public relations, print journalism. We just need, it's just as a whole, we got one of the biggest schools in this school, and it's nothing for us.
That's a very good question. The main thing would be is to have them two on the same page, because in the meeting yesterday, President Burnim said that he wasn't aware that our radio station, really like had a presence on the campus. When I came my freshman year, like I used to walk past in the Wiseman, and I used to hear them on air all the time and everything. And now that I'm actually into my major courses, I feel like that should be me. But I've in a sense been stripped that opportunity because we don't have a radio station anymore. And basically, it was just to get those two on the same page and do something about it. Because as a communications department, they should be funding for a radio station and a TV station. Like I said, those are kind of the main things of the department. So at bare minimum, those are things that we definitely should have.